Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel. In today's video, we're diving into a topic that's becoming more and more important, the US dollar and its role in the global economy. Specifically, we're talking about the BRICS nations, Brazil, Russia, India, China, and South Africa, and their push to replace the US dollar as the world's dominant currency. You might have heard a bit about this, but today we're going to break it down in detail, explain why this is happening, and how it could affect you and the global economy. What's happening with BRICS? Now, the BRICS nations have been around for a while, but lately they've been making some pretty bold moves. These 5 countries have been banding together with a shared goal to challenge the dominance of the US dollar. And it looks like they're getting serious about it. Recently, President Trump responded to the BRICS push by threatening to slap tariffs on these countries if they continue their efforts. In fact, he said they could face tariffs as high as 100%. Naturally, the BRICS nations weren't too happy with these threats. Brazil's president fired back, saying that BRICS is fully committed to moving away from the US dollar, and they won't let anything stand in their way. The importance of the dollar. But why does this matter so much? Why is the dollar so important? Well, let's break it down. The US dollar has been the world's reserve currency since 1944. But what does that actually mean? It means that the US dollar is the go-to currency for international trade and global financial transactions. In simple terms, when countries around the world do business, especially in important markets like oil, they typically use the US dollar. This gives the dollar a huge amount of power because everyone needs it to trade. Now, here's the interesting part. The US dollar is a fiat currency. What that means is it's not backed by any physical commodity like gold. It's just paper or digital numbers with a promise from the US government that it has value. And because the US has been the world's reserve currency for so long, everyone trusts it. But imagine if that trust started to fade. If countries started to doubt the dollar's value, or worse, decide to stop using it, that could cause major problems for the US economy. The dollar could lose its dominance, which would affect not only global trade but also inflation, interest rates, and the stock market. BRICS strategy: why challenge the dollar? So why are BRICS countries making this move? Why challenge the dollar? The answer is simple: they want more control over their own economies. By moving away from the dollar, these countries could have more freedom to set their own financial policies and trade rules. In fact, many BRICS countries are already investing heavily in gold. Why? Because gold is a physical asset, unlike fiat currencies, and can back their own currencies. This helps protect their economies from potential crashes or devaluation of their own money. Now, the US isn't going to sit back and let that happen without a fight. President Trump has been very vocal, saying that if any BRICS nation undermines the dollar, they'll face consequences. As we mentioned earlier, tariffs could be as high as 150%. This has caused a lot of tension in global markets. What would happen if the dollar lost its dominance? So, what happens if the US dollar loses its status as the world's reserve currency? It could shake things up on a global scale. If countries no longer needed to use the US dollar for trade, the value of the dollar could drop. That would make imports more expensive for Americans and inflation could rise. Not only that, but the US would lose a huge source of power over global financial markets. On the flip side, we could see more countries turning to alternative currencies, like the Chinese yuan or a new BRICS currency, to handle trade. This would give those countries more influence in the global economy, which is something the US is obviously trying to avoid. The role of gold in this shift. One of the ways BRICS nations are preparing for a shift away from the dollar is by backing their currencies with gold. In fact, many of these countries are stockpiling gold to increase the value of their currencies. This move has already driven up gold prices in recent years. Gold is seen as a safe haven asset during times of uncertainty. So, if the dollar starts to lose its value, people and nations will flock to gold as a store of value. The US dollar's history, from gold standard to fiat. To understand the stakes here, let's take a quick look at the history of the US dollar. In 1913, the US created the Federal Reserve, which gave the government the power to print money. But in the 1970s, the dollar was taken off the gold standard. President Nixon temporarily decoupled the dollar from gold to solve the country's debt problems. This allowed the US to print more money, but it also led to inflation in the late 1970s. What does this mean for you? So, what does all this mean for you as an individual or an investor? Well, global currency shifts can have a big impact on inflation, interest rates, and stock market stability. If the dollar weakens, prices could rise and interest rates might increase. But the good news is that these kinds of changes also create new opportunities. For example, as the dollar weakens, you might want to invest in commodities like gold or even look into emerging markets that could benefit from a change in the global financial system. By staying informed, you'll be able to make smarter investment decisions. And that's the key, understanding these trends before they fully unfold. Conclusion: preparing for a changing world. The global economy is shifting, and the role of the US dollar is facing serious challenges. The BRICS nations are pushing for a new system, and while it might not happen overnight, it's something we need to keep an eye on. The bottom line? Stay educated, watch the signs, and be ready to capitalize on the opportunities that come with these changes. The world of finance is always evolving, and with that evolution comes the potential for significant investment opportunities. Thanks for watching. If you found this video helpful, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe for more updates on the global economy and how you can stay ahead of the curve. Also, let me know in the comments what you think about the future of the US dollar and the BRICS nations. See you next time.